They muted the broadcast, but Hamilton's radio on lap 27 in Barcelona leaked anyway. Still no front grip, same issue. Not anger, precision, not complaints. Warning that wasn't just about the car, it was about the culture. A coded message. You're ignoring the obvious. Since stepping into Maranello, Lewis Hamilton hasn't just been chasing lap time. He's been dismantling a belief system. Ferrari doesn't fear slow cars. Ferrari fears disruption. And Hamilton is disruption incarnate. 12 seasons at Mercedes taught him one truth: question everything. But in Ferrari, questioning is dangerous. Change takes meetings, boldness needs permission, and milliseconds die in protocol. The clerk fits the system. Hamilton threatens it. He doesn't whisper in debriefs. He challenges on open radio. He asks why things are the same even when results scream for change. Shanghai Sprint proves something no engineer dared admit. The car works if built around him. That's the truth they buried Charles. The clerk is thriving. 3 podiums, fan chants in red, and a car that feels like home. But here's what they won't say. Ferrari's success with Charles is a symptom, not a solution. Because behind those results, Hamilton is uncovering a deeper issue, a setup trap disguised as stability. While the clerk adapts with minimal tweaks, Hamilton is locked in weekly battles with engineers who treat innovation like heresy. His inputs are debated, delayed, diluted. Every suggestion meets the same reply: we've always done it this way. But that's exactly the disease. The clerk fits the car. Hamilton exposes its limits. That's why one gets updates aligned to his driving, and the other gets the engineer's smile when Charles delivers. But they flinch when Lewis questions, not because he's wrong, but because he's right. Too soon. Ferrari's culture fears urgency, and urgency is Hamilton's native language. So yes, Al, clerk smiles. But Hamilton, he's reading the system like telemetry, and it's blinking red. Hamilton doesn't just drive. He decodes every vibration, every slip, every tenth. But what happens when that feedback hits a wall in Ferrari? It gets filtered. Not through algorithms, but through egos. Behind closed doors, sources reveal a pattern. Hamilton's debriefs are frequently reinterpreted before they ever reach the aero department. Language softened, urgency removed, innovation disguised as risk. Why? Because Hamilton's vision challenges their hierarchy. And in Ferrari, hierarchy protects itself. At Mercedes, his data shifted the car's DNA within days. At Ferrari, it's under evaluation. Translation: park it until the clerk says the same. It's not incompetence, it's fear management. A culture where engineers have learned that changing too fast means losing your seat at the table. So they delay, they deflect. And Hamilton, he races against the second enemy: internal inertia. The SF25 isn't just fighting Red Bull, it's fighting itself. In Monaco, something cracked. It wasn't just the barriers, it was the illusion. Q3. Hamilton hooks up a lap that puts him on dances. No understeer, no hesitation, just precision. Suddenly, the question wasn't if the car could perform, but why it only performed then. Inside the garage, the mood shifted. Engineers scrambled. Radios went quiet. Because that lap didn't just expose the car's potential, it exposed the lie. The lie that said it's not possible. The lie that blamed Hamilton's driving style. The lie that justified inaction. And here's the twist: that setup. It wasn't planned. It was forced through, piece by piece, after Hamilton refused to settle for good enough. In FP3, a war over ride height, a standoff over rear stiffness. He won. The car obeyed. The system panicked. That lap in Monaco wasn't about points. It was proof that when Hamilton leads, the car follows, even if Maranello resists. Austria, the word on every Ferrari engineer's lips. Upgrades, new floor, revised cooling, area row tweaks. But behind the optimistic headlines, a pattern re-emerges. What's coming isn't calibrated for Hamilton. Insiders whisper about a baseline alignment, a code that means L. Clark's driving style first, Hamilton second. Even before the data is gathered, the parts are tailored to what Charles likes. The SF25 gets lighter at the front, sharper on turning. Exactly what Hamilton's been saying. Doesn't work for him. Hamilton, ever surgical, picks up the pattern in debriefs. He asks, "Who's this spec actually for?" Silence. Eye contact avoided. The truth updates are political currency, and right now, L. Clerk holds more. So Austria becomes a deadline, not for performance, but for patience. Because if the upgrades miss the mark again, it won't be the car under scrutiny, it'll be the structure. Hamilton isn't chasing tenths anymore. He's watching who's allowed to evolve and who's being held in place. It's not just the chassis, Hamilton confided, Postra. It's the engine delivery, the mapping, the throttle modulation. They won't let me drive it how I need to. At first it sounded like frustration, but listen closer. It's a coded accusation. Because Ferrari's power unit doesn't just produce horsepower, it imposes rules. Throttle maps dictated from Maranello, torque response designed for Leclerc's style, no room for Hamilton's precision, loaded braking, no space for his micro-corrections mid-corner. The data shows it clearly. On identical tires, Hamilton's exits spike with instability because the engine mapping dulls his inputs. It's not that he's adapting slowly, it's that the car's brain rejects his language. And when he asks for changes, the same reply. That's not how we run it here. But that's the point here. Isn't winning. Here hasn't won in over 15 years. So why is here still sacred? This isn't about engine maps. It's about control. And Ferrari would rather limit Hamilton than admit their structure needs breaking. Fred Vaser smiles, always composed, always vague. We're analyzing data, he says. No major concerns. But behind that calm lies something more dangerous than chaos: compliance. When asked about Hamilton's demands for setup freedom, engine flexibility, faster updates, his answer is always the same. Delay, no denial, no affirmation, just the spiritual weapon of every stagnant system: silence. To the cameras, Vaser is neutral, but inside Maranello, that neutrality is a choice. To protect the status quo, because giving Hamilton what he truly needs would mean dismantling old hierarchies, admitting past failures, and shifting power away from their chosen son, Leclerc. Hamilton's presence was supposed to lift Ferrari, but now his push for evolution feels like a revolution. And revolutions scare people like Vassar, so they stall, they analyze, they delay the inevitable. But every silent press conference, every vague promise, pushes Hamilton closer to a line, and Ferrari closer to a reckoning. This was never just about performance, it was about identity. Ferrari brought in Hamilton expecting results, but what they got was reflection, and the image staring back from car number 44 is brutal. A team frozen in time, built on nostalgia, terrified of reinvention. Hamilton doesn't need a faster car, he needs a freer one that listens, not tolerates, one that evolves, not just adapts. He came to Ferrari to win, but also to wake it up. The data can't lie. The radio can't lie. Monaco, Austria, Barcelona, they've all exposed it. Ferrari's problem isn't just speed. It's fear of change, of losing control, of letting a driver rewrite their legacy. But here's the twist. Hamilton won't adapt to the system. He'll force it to answer. One final question. Will Ferrari choose tradition or transformation? Because there's no middle ground left, and as he once said, without change there is no progress, only regret. Truth won't be televised, but here, it just was. If you believe Ferrari must break its own curse like this, subscribe and join those decoding what the official broadcast hides.